Hi everyone, Ehsan Bahrami here. Welcome to this video. PHP is one of those languages that has always sparked debate. Whether it was in the past when there were verbal skirmishes between PHP programmers and C# or ASP.NET fans, or nowadays when people frequently talk about its inefficiency, obsolescence, and the futility of learning it. Today, as I record this video, I've been working with PHP and other programming languages for over 14 years, developing various web applications and websites. However, this doesn't mean I consider PHP the best language in the world. Throughout these years, I've learned and professionally used other languages like JavaScript and Python as well. My choice of language for each project has always depended on the specific requirements and conditions of that project, aiming to choose the most efficient language for each case. So now I'll try to share my 14 years of experience with different programming languages, so you don't have to rely solely on the opinions of those who have worked with only one language and might be biased, potentially leading you to make a wrong decision for your future. Before we start the video, I suggest you subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon and set it to all so you don't miss any new uploads and don't lose track of the channel. Additionally, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, leave a comment to boost my energy, and share it with your friends if you think it can be helpful to others. The points I mentioned at the beginning of the video remind me of some common mistakes I often see during consultation sessions with students at the beginning of their journey. Now that we're discussing this topic, let me list some of these points for you. 1. You don't need to know a large number of programming languages. 2. If, like me, your work involves diverse subjects requiring different programming languages for optimal implementation, first spend several years mastering your initial language before moving on to the next one. The value of a programmer or software engineer is not in the number of languages they know, but in their proficiency in a particular language. For instance, if I've learned several programming languages, it wasn't just by reading books or watching tutorials. It involved extensive practice and applying this knowledge in various projects, including professional and commercial ones in my company with my team. 3. Someone claiming to have learned several programming languages professionally within a year is usually not accurate. I've learned languages like JavaScript, Python, and PHP over 14 years of education and work in computer engineering. On average, I've spent nearly 5 years on each. However, since the computer engineering world is constantly evolving, there are still many things I don't know and learn as needed. 4. If someone claims to know everything about a specific technology, like a programming language, it indicates they don't know many things. Even an experienced specialist in a field must continually learn about new developments in that field, such as new features added to each version of a programming language. 5. Programming languages are merely tools, so each person learns a language based on their goals and reasons. The right language for each person can vary. For example, someone wanting to develop a WordPress plugin won't find learning Python beneficial. We've covered general points so far, and now we'll specifically discuss PHP and the question of this video. To answer a question comprehensively, we first need to have a thorough understanding of the topic. So let's explore what PHP is, when and how it emerged, and its reasons for growth to see if these reasons still hold. PHP was introduced in the early 1990s by Rasmus Ledroff. It quickly grew because it provided various functionalities for developing dynamic web pages easily. Moreover, popular content management systems, CMS, like WordPress, were built with PHP, leading most websites worldwide to be PHP-based. Let's review some reasons for PHP's popularity. Large developer community. Many people are familiar with PHP, making it easier to find PHP developers for software development. Relatively easy to learn. With abundant learning resources and an active developer community, you can easily access numerous learning materials and find solutions to your bugs and issues online. Numerous libraries and frameworks. Since this language has been used by many for years, there are various ready-to-use resources for it. Well-known frameworks like Laravel and Symfony are available, handling most aspects of a web application such as authentication, database connections, and more. Acceptable performance. PHP and its regular updates, especially from version 7 onward, have improved various aspects like security and performance. Now that we understand some reasons behind PHP's popularity, and since most of these reasons still exist, there is no reason to say that PHP is obsolete. Although its popularity has declined compared to the past, it remains suitable for certain scenarios, and other options might currently be better for some cases. Despite this decline, according to official statistics, PHP is still one of the most used languages on websites worldwide. The following graphs we'll see are from w3text.com. The first graph shows PHP usage as a server-side language for websites with a remarkable 75%. This means that 3 out of 4 websites globally use PHP. Interestingly, the use of JavaScript on the server side for current website is only 4%. PHP owes a significant part of these figures to WordPress, which many use to set up websites. The second graph provides the same information with more details based on websites' rankings. The gray bars represent the first graph's data, and according to the graph's legend, other colors represent the top 1 million to 1,000 websites. This graph can be interpreted as follows. 16.3% of the top 1,000 websites globally use PHP, 28.2% use JavaScript, and the remaining top 1,000 websites use other options for server-side language. In the third graph, PHP's usage among different server-side languages is shown relative to the number of websites and traffic. The horizontal axis represents the number of websites and the vertical axis represents the traffic. In other words, this graph shows that PHP is used in a large number of websites, but many of these websites aren't high traffic ones. Based on our analysis and the official statistics we've seen, if I'd had to answer in one word whether PHP is obsolete, my answer would be no. Although PHP's popularity has declined compared to the past, it still holds a significant place and is actively being developed. In the past, there were fewer options to choose from, but now there are various alternatives for web development. For example, in the last decade, Python has made significant progress in both web development and artificial intelligence. This increased diversity reduces focus on a single tool or language, and might even change their popularity rankings. For instance, according to official Stack Overflow statistics, PHP's popularity has decreased in recent years. One of the reasons people learn a programming language is job market demand. And with a simple search in job ads inside or outside the country, you can see many job opportunities for PHP developers still exist. Even if PHP becomes obsolete in the future, PHP developers will still be needed to maintain and develop the numerous websites we reviewed, which make up 75% of all existing websites. Therefore, based on the roadmaps I've provided for starting programming, selecting a field, and choosing a language, if you conclude that PHP is the best option for you, choose it and continue with it to become an expert. Being an expert in any field increases the likelihood of achieving a high income. If you need to change languages in the future, you can easily learn a new language without starting from scratch. because knowing the basic programming concepts in depth make learning other languages much easier. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, see these points as tools and don't be biased toward any of them. If you find that learning PHP is better for you based on your conditions and goals, start with it. I'm telling you this not just as someone familiar with PHP, but as an instructor of various languages like PHP, Python, and JavaScript. In fact, the first course on my YouTube channel was for Python, not PHP. That's why I don't mind which language you start with. But it's important to me that you make the right choice for your future and don't exclude PHP from your options based on the false assumption of its obsolescence. For example, someone aiming to create useful plugins for WordPress to sell to users won't benefit from learning Python, because developing WordPress plugins is done with PHP. However, someone considering a combination of web, artificial intelligence, and new paths for their work might find Python or JavaScript a suitable option, which we've discussed in detail in my other videos. In conclusion, let me add a side note. Some people and sources classify PHP as a scripting language, while others argue that it also has a programming language properties and generally falls under that category. In this video, to keep the main topic focused, I mostly use the general term programming language. However, if you'd like to know the difference between these two types of languages, let me know and I can create a dedicated video for you. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and share it. If you have any questions about programming or PHP, feel free to ask in the comment section. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. Until the next video, see you friends!